Are the Patriots in on Odell, or they're not right now?
They're banging on the window. They're banging on the glass, saying, hey, look at us. And he fills the need that they have on their team. And, from folks I've spoken to down there, they're intrigued by the prospect of it. They believe that he does fill a need that they have for short area, ability to get open, to be a physical receiver, to do things in the red zone and on short yardage. The Patriots don't really have anyone to do. So they're definitely interested. I just don't know if they're going to be persuasive enough with the quarterback situation in their overall offense to get it done. It sounds like it's not trending that way, but the Patriots definitely interested.
They are interested. What about the idea that bringing in someone who from Cleveland that wasn't, you're hearing the narrative about not being a precise route runner in a precision offense where you need to be, where you've got to be, do your job. Essentially, don't ever run off of script if you don't have to when you have a job to do, and we tell you what the script is, and as long as you follow it, we hang banners. That's not a concern at all?
I just think that, does he have the capacity to be precise? I'm sure he does.
Sure.
Not a dumb guy. I think there's a lack of respect. They're probably an emboldened guy, too, by the contracts he's been given, whether it's in New York and you're playing for Ben McAdoo and you finally say, I'm just not getting the ball and my quarterback's not good enough, or you're in Kansas City and you're playing for Kevin Stefanski, who certainly has done enough to warrant a level of respect, but you don't think you're being taken your role is not being taken advantage of well enough. But I just don't think that when you come to New England on an 8-game audition, when you have to rehab your career, you're going to start telling the Patriots how it's going to be and what your particular Randy ratio will be. I just can't imagine, as much as he acts out, as immature as he might be, as divisive as he has been, that he would be dumb enough to come into an audition period and try and say, here's the lay of the land for OBJ, Bill.
Mm-hmm. Well,
you with me on that, right?
No, I don't know how divisive he is, though, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Like, every teammate kind of digs him from, maybe Mayfield feels differently or a couple of people in Cleveland. But, when he left the Giants, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he would actually be an outstanding fit for New England in a way that I think that Bill takes somebody else's either problem or supposedly declining player or player that didn't fit in where you have, and then they come to you, to the New England Patriots, and start balling out. I mean, as I said earlier this week, that there's Randy Moss on one end of that scale, clearly, as a Hall of Famer, and Mohamed Sanu on the other end of that scale, right? And Beckham would be closer to Randy Moss than Mohamed Sanu, in my estimation.
He sure would. And when we talk about this, Bill did give us insight a long time ago. This is the great thing about covering the team for so long, is you get to understand, when he was more open, how his mind works. He said about guys like Corey Dillon,
right?
Specifically Corey Dillon, if you look at his resume, every problem he had was football related. Now, he had a tough upbringing. He was a pain in the ass out in Seattle, and he had all kinds of trouble as a kid. But his problems in Cincinnati as a running back were on field, and how he was used was not off-field stuff. Now, he certainly deviated from that with Antonio Brown. His stuff was not football related. It was just, he was nuts. I mean, he behaved in bizarre ways. I think OBJ would be closer to a guy whose issues are football related rather than off-field. So that would be, to me, a reason that Bill Belichick would be more in the market for Odell Beckham Jr. But I guess what we have to wonder, too, is what's the upshot of the New England Patriots 2021 season? No matter what's going on in Kansas City, you know that they're going to right the ship and be in contention to play in, if not win, a Super Bowl. Same thing with Green Bay. Seattle, with Russell Wilson, I would say the same thing. You can change things in 8 games. With New Orleans, it's a homecoming, and you're still playing with a Hall of Fame head coach. In New England, I just don't know if the pieces are in place, because this is still, Rich, a rebuilding team. It's 5-4 because the Patriots don't bottom out like the Jaguars or the Dolphins or other teams that have to go 2-14 and they rebuild. Last year was their crater. Now they're still rebuilding, but they're playoff contenders.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.